this is the best E360 class, best looking E360 class we've ever had.
It's very true.
Yeah.
That's Nick. I'm Brandon. We're going to be part of we're like some of the instructors here. Jody will be in a little bit later. But you're going to see a lot of us. That's Laura. Laura's going to be filming, running around, former E360 student. I think we've talked about her a little bit before. Who here has their homework with them?
I do.
Everybody? Everybody kind of. Gabriel, you asked me to print a photo for you. I'm going to not pass it along because I don't want anybody to see the incredibleness that I hold in my hands. You can reveal that for everybody. If anybody else needed a photo printed, well, I guess you're out of luck because nobody sent it to me, so I don't think you do. Here's how today's going to work. It's going to be pretty low key, but it's also a very important day, which is we're going to get to know each other, which is why I was, encouraging you to chit-chat because this is what we're going to do. I'm going to ask that you introduce yourself to the class. You share a little bit about who you are, where you came from, that sort of stuff, whatever you feel is part of your biography or important information for us to know. And then I'm going to have you share a story regarding that important item that you brought in. And when I say a story, I just mean your thoughts as to why you chose that, why it's meaningful or important to you. Then I'm going to ask you some questions that I might be interested in. And then I'm going to ask that anybody in the room can ask some follow-up questions to you as well. It's one to just get us comfortable with each other, to share a little bit about our backgrounds, the things that are important to us, and that's going to be it. I'll say this. Here's the board today. And everybody remember I told you on that board you're going to have stuff there? Who here has written down their quote, which is, to whom much is given, much is expected? If you haven't, why don't we take a moment to write down your quote now? So as you're writing that down, I'm going to bother you. And you've got your quote, to whom much is given, much is expected. And your homework for that is to journal in this journal or on Google Drive, whatever's most comfortable, as long as you can share with us, what that quote means to you. I'd ask that you write at least a paragraph. The more, the better. It just gives us some insight into what you're thinking about, who you are, but it's really open-ended. There are no right or wrong answers to a journal prompt, okay? It says emails, always check. You're going to get a lot of emails from this class. Just by a show of hands, who checks their email regularly? And when I say regularly, I mean at least once a day, all right? That's great. You should be checking once a day. We're going to send out a lot of information regarding the class, but more importantly than that, we're going to send out a lot of opportunities. Hey, we got 4 tickets to a networking event. First 4 people to respond, we're going to give you those tickets. Hey, we've got someone coming in as a visitor, and we need some people to sit down with them and talk to them about their projects. We need 3 people. So we're going to send out a lot of opportunities through your inbox. We'll try to find you in real life, but there's an incentive to check and keep up on that stuff. And we put some pretty important information in there. I try to keep them short. I try to bold the things that are important, but know that that's a direct line of communication for us. At the bottom, you have Jody's number and email. You have my number and email. And you have Nick's email. You are welcome to call, text, email. If we don't get back to you right away, it's because we're either sleeping or not available, but have at it. If you've got a question, if you need something, you're more than welcome to reach out. I'll probably actually collect everybody's telephone numbers if they've got them, because it's always an easier, quicker way to get in contact with you. So you can write those down. You can take a picture of them after. And really the big thing that we're going to do today is that share out that I talked about. So everybody got what they need off of that board? Should we get going? I'm going to open it up and see if somebody wants to go first. Kevin's going to take the plunge. All right, forgive me if I take some notes. There's a lot of people, so I want to make sure I get everybody right. This is the share out. So you're going to say who you are, a little bit about yourself, building interests, internships, or if that's not what you are, who you are, whatever you want, and then talk to us about why you brought that thing in and what it means to you. I would love that. Thank you for asking.
So my name's Kevin. I am a senior and I'm at the Peace Building. My family comes from a country in Southeast Asia, but I was born here. So I have two different cultures that I'm trying to work out in my life, and it's kind of difficult because my parents don't speak English and I don't speak Hmong, which is my culture, and it's kind of confusing in my life because I can't communicate with them and it's kind of difficult. But I'm trying to work it out, but it's not going to stop me from what I'm going to do. And I want to become an artist. I like to create things, and what else? I just like to express myself throughout the things that I can make. That's who I am. And the thing that I brought in today is something that I got since I was a baby. It was the very first thing that my parents wrapped me in. It was a small blanket that I got when I was born. The thing was, I wasn't born in a hospital. I was born inside my house. And this was the thing that they wrapped me in. Of course, over the years, I watched them. But I had this ever since I was a baby, and I would sleep with it because it always gives me good vibes, and I always have like good dreams about it. That's why it's important to me. I wouldn't trade anything for the world for this.
Cool.
Right, Kevin. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Where did you say you were born?
I was born in my house in Providence.
In Providence.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And so where are your parents from? You said Southeast Asia. What?
They're from Laos.
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 Okay. And you say Hmong culture? Yeah, that's what I thought. You tell me a little bit about that. What's that?
It's
You can sit for this part. Thank you for standing, and thank you for sharing.
It's a culture that is like a mix of other Southeastern Asian cultures. Is a mix of Laos, Taiwan, Chinese, I believe. I guess I'm a mix of it, but we develop into our own little culture. So that's why we're like a separate like Southeast Asian. So we're not like Taiwan, Vietnamese. We're our own.
And so there's a big Hmong festival in Providence, isn't there?
Yeah, it already passed.
It already passed. You go every year?
Yeah, I do.
What kind of food?
They have my favorite is Nava. It's like some weird like drink you have. It's like a liquidy drink that has like little balls in it. Like it's not like tapioca balls, but it's like a weird soft ball. It's like some type of soft candy.
Is it like a similar to a bubble tea type of thing, or no? Because you said it's not tapioca, so maybe not.
It's not tapioca ball. It's hard to explain.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they make it.
Okay, cool.
I lived for a few weeks with the Hmong people in the hills of South Vietnam, then South Vietnam. And they used a sauce, a fish sauce, called Nuoc Mam. Do you use Nuoc Mam?
I don't know.
You
I
don't
don't
know.
really know the names of
Okay,
the stuff.
you'd know.
Is it spicy or is it?
It's fishy.
Okay, it's fishy.
It's fishy.
Okay. And so you've been at the Met all 4 years?
Yes.
And what school did you come from before that?
Gilbert Stewart.
Yeah. Did you like it? Was it good?
No.
What happened?
It was a unique school.
Yeah.
There was like, I wouldn't say there would be constantly fights, but there would be like, it wasn't the greatest school, I could just say.
Yeah. What was wrong? What was wrong with it for you in particular?
Some of the teachers didn't care.
Okay.
They didn't care about, some teachers didn't care, and some teachers would be like, mad at you for no reason, and I just didn't really understand why.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't like their job or something.
Did you do a lot of art there?
Yes, I actually started my art during middle school because I would just grab a regular notebook and whenever I'm bored, I would just draw. But I never really had an art class in there.
Okay. What's your favorite medium? Like if you had to say, oh, I love doing this in terms of drawing, painting, making sculpture. I mean,
I guess like traditional art.
what do you use? Paint, pens, everything, or?
I use, pencils.
Okay.
But,
Cool.
I don't color because I'm not that great at coloring yet. So like, I took a college class in coloring and it helped a lot. But I don't have the materials for the type of pencils or color pencils.
So illustration, I would say.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
You
Cool.
have a favorite artist or artist?
Not really.
No?
No.
Questions for Kevin? Man, you got to go first. That's good. The questions are going to start ramping up. People are going to start going. So, way to take the first plunge.
Oh, I have a question. Do you still live like in the same house you were born?
No.
No.
We this morning when Nick was asking where we live, I said I live in Westward. So I moved in the beginning of this the Met I started. That's when I moved to Westward.
Oh, okay.
Dream West Warwick. Now, that's where my parents are. That's where you are? All right. Now we got 2 West Warwick, 3. We're triangulating a connection for West. Anybody else West Warwick? Oh man. No, really.
Almost.
We might be taking y'all down and see who I'm sure Providence will win, but yeah, I think so. All right, so I'm sure we'll come back. I'm sure we'll find that thing there. So you sleep in that thing every night. Who here has something from their childhood that they have since like baby or almost baby that they have still with them?
Oh.
What's yours?
I have a stuffed bunny that my uncle does for me.
Stuffed bunny. What's yours?
I have a huge Winnie the Pooh bear.
Huge Winnie the Pooh bear. At what age did you become bigger than the Winnie the Pooh bear?
I don't know. Last year.
Last year. All right, so it's pretty big. It's a big Winnie the Pooh bear.
My little, like a little white bear named Snowflake.
Yeah, I have a little Pooh bear. His name's Blue. I'm pretty creative.
He is too.
Yes.
This necklace, my mom gave it to me when I was in like first grade, and I just always had it on me.
Cool. Anybody else? Yeah.
A koala bear. It was like my first build bear. It was Coco.
Cool.
Yeah.
This giant, like, Winnie the Pooh bear on top of that. I keep in the corner of my room, turning around because I hang on the ceiling. I can't get down, so high up. So I kind of just turned it around the best I could, but with a stick. The eyes kind of creeped me out.
Yeah. So you like
Yeah,
perpetually,
kinda just
Pooh
like-
Bear's perpetually in the corner.
Yeah.
All right, that's tough. That's a tough life. My Blue Bear is like in a tote, and I'm kind of like, wow, it's dark in that tote. You doing all right, Blue? I'll go visit him every 6 months. Like, you good? He never answers. What does he eat? Dust mites. Very little. All right, who wants to go next? Carla,
I'm Carla. I'm 16.
stand up for this part. I know it's fun.
I'm 16. I'm a junior at Peace. I'm passionate about culinary arts and business. I'm trying to get an internship with Sassone Band that right now I'm shadowing with him. And yeah.
Culinary arts. Okay, so what'd you bring in?
I brought a rubber, I brought my niece's toy. This is important to me because this is the only thing that she will let me shower her. So as long as she has this, I get to shower her.
And so, do you watch your niece?
A lot.
A lot. How long? What's a lot?
Every day.
So all the time. All right.
Yes.
Does she need a shower every day?
Yes.
So I guess that thing is important.
I
Right?
have to shower her 3 times a day because she's my student.
How old is she?
1.
She'll be all shriveled up.
little raisin for. What's her name?
Jasmine.
That's pretty.
You said your niece,
Mhm.
or okay, and so sister, brother. Okay, cool. What's your niece's name? I just asked you.
Jasmine.
Jasmine. So Jasmine's 1. You've been taking care of her for how long? Wow.
A year.
A year. Okay. Do you like it?
Sometimes
What do you like about it?
when she naps.
When she naps, does she have something that helps her go to sleep? Do you have something that you do to help her go to sleep?
I just play Peppa Pig with you, so.
Peppa Pig? What's Peppa Pig?
Oh my god, this is the worst show they've ever created. It's British pigs.
It's what?
British pigs.
Do you know Peppa Pig?
Yes.
Who here knows Peppa Pig? I don't know Peppa Pig. All right. So you say it's the worst show ever created, yet you put it on and she knocks out. So it seems to be like a blessing.
I don't know why.
Well, British people can be boring, right? So maybe British pigs are boring. I don't know. Their voice can like sort of lull you into sleep.
Their voice is annoying. They say something and they like snort after.
Yeah, I don't know. They just got a thing from Pepper
She's a
Pig.
fan.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it.
So now that green duck you get, or that green frog, you can shower her.
I guess her in the shower.
Yeah, do you like bathe her in a bucket?
Um,
I mean that's the thing, like what, like those plastic tubs.
she only does that when they're like a couple months old.
Okay.
But she can
Till
stand
they can
now.
swim.
Alright, fair. And then you fill the tub up and.
Yeah, like we got like the rubber padding for the bottom so she can stand up.
Okay.
How does she ask for the frog when you forget it?
She cries.
She cries,
She doesn't go in the tub.
and you have to figure out why.
Let me ask you a question. When you're watching Jasmine, right? When you're watching Jasmine, you run into some issues, some problems.
A lot.
Like what?
She likes touching stuff. So one day I left a bucket of butter on the table, and I left her in her high chair, and I don't know how she got to it, but she started putting it in her hand and rubbing it on her elbows. I thought it was lotion.
That's a pretty smart 1-year-old. That's pretty intuitive.
Bad.
Okay.
So she had butter in her ears and everything, and I had to shower her.
Alright, so butter. Be careful with Jasmine and butter. Alright, so what else? Other problems you encounter?
She has crushes on all my friends, so like every time I bring a friend over and like I like even like look at my friend, she'll like give me a dirty look and start yelling at me.
My sister is the same way.
Yeah, how old is your sister?
She's 6. Every time my friends come over, she just like doesn't want me. She just wants yells at me.
Oh.
Okay. Alright. So talk to me, how long have you been at P Street? Have you been at the Met all high school?
Yeah.
All 3 years. What middle school?
I went to Green and Middle School.
I'm gonna ask you the same questions. How was it? What was it like?
I hated Green because like, well, it's an overrated school, and like you have to be like perfect for people to come through. But like middle school was kind of like I guess a rebel.
What does a rebel mean?
I don't know.
Define
I
that
just
for
did
me.
not-
Everybody's got a different idea of what a rebel is. What's your
I
version?
did not show up to class, or like if I did show up, I was just loud.
Alright. So either you didn't go or you were disruptive. Why? You didn't like it?
Yeah.
What didn't you like?
The teachers were fake.
How so?
So like let's say the principal came, they start teaching like being perfect and whatever. As soon as the principals would leave, they just sit there and like be on their phone.
Oh, nice. Good for them.
How old were you when you first figured this out?
I was like 11.
11?
Yeah.
Anybody have fake teachers? You have? Yeah.
Only 2 people, fake teachers?
I have fake teachers.
I have very good.
Very fake teachers. Does anybody know that thing that teachers will have you do when you have like visitors come in with which hand you raise? You ever heard about this? What's the?
Well, it's not like that, but like you have to like stand up and like say, good morning, so and so.
Okay.
And so it's like look at them. When they talk to you, you have to stand up. So
Ooh. Sounds like here. Sounds like E360. We do the same thing all the time.
We'll always make you stand.
We're not fake, are we?
I hope not. Well, they'll be the judge of that. They'll figure that out soon enough. I always heard this story where if you were in a class and you had like a visitor coming and the teacher was getting observed. Now, I think we talked about this. I don't think we actually ever did it. But you would raise your left hand if you knew the answer. And you would raise your right hand if you didn't know the answer. But everybody would raise their hand. So the teacher would only call on the people with the left hands up, but everybody would look like they had the answer. So they'd be like, wow, you guys are doing phenomenal work. Really, everybody's participating. It's messed up, right? It's messed up. I don't know. I don't know if it happens. I just heard about that somewhere. So if you know the answer, everyone, raise your left hand.
That's super fake.
That's pretty fake. All right, so you were a rebel. If you went, you talked out, you were disruptive. Are you like that now? You seem kind of quiet.
I'm not very quiet, but like I have my moments where I get loud.
Yeah, what are those moments?
I don't know. It's like if I'm like talking to my friend. I'm Hispanic, so like Hispanic comes out.
Yeah. And so you're loud and animated and have
Yeah.
fun. Do you like that more than being quiet?
No, not really.
No, not really. All right, fair enough. We're probably gonna ask for that side more than the other side, just so you know.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. Any questions for Carla? Anybody noticing a pattern between who's going? people from P Street whose names start with K. That's all I'm saying. That's just what I'm just observing a pattern. I don't know if we have any more, but that's a pattern I'm seeing. All right, who's next? Whoa, now we're ramping it up. I don't know, you guys decide amongst yourselves.
I don't even know who raised their hand, so.
Brian raised his hand.
Ryan and Gabriel.
I mean,
Yep, there you go.
alright.
We've ceded the floor to the man in the blue t-shirt.
Alright, well, my name's Sean, I'm an 11th grader in Unity over there. I actually would have gone P Street, but I guess like the day I came, they're like last second, they're like, no, we switched you, so you're gonna go, you know. Kinda happy with that, I'm gonna have to end up going there. I live in West Warwick.
How'd you guys feel about that? That was a dig. What do you think?
No, not really.
No, not really. I know, I'm joking.
Hey, I was thinking of going to my regular high school. Like, they accepted me. School started Tuesday, they accepted me Friday. And I was like,
You're saying
okay.
the Met did.
Yeah, that accepted me Friday. I was prepared to go to my school. I had like a crap ton of binders and everything. I was ready
Is
to
that a
get
lot?
prepared. Yeah,
Crap ton.
yeah. It was a very, like, I had
It's
like
17, right?
Yeah,
Oh, crap,
exactly.
17.
17. And so, and then I ended up coming here and they were like, yeah, see all this stuff you can just like throw away. You kind of only need like this notebook and Chromebook here. I was like, oh, great. But yeah, I ended up coming here and I actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, I forgot that I had to bring in something today, but I came with backup plan while everyone was doing their own thing.
Okay.
So I can't bring in my dog, so I have a picture on my phone. I'll just pass this around. Her name's Mandy, she's a German Shepherd Rottweiler, and she means a lot to me, so.
Cool. That's a pretty interesting mix.
She's a German Shepherd, what?
Rottweiler.
Oh, a friend dog.
Oh, actually very friendly. The only thing she doesn't like is when other dogs touch her toys. Cause that's why my friend lives with me, and he has another, is a pit bull lab mix. So stupid.
How does Jasmine like when people touch her toys? Kind of like a German Shepherd Rottweiler? A little teeny German Shepherd Rottweiler? Yeah, okay. Alright, so you would have brought your dog in.
I would've. I mean, she's very friendly, but like I said, it's like a moon bear. So like, it's like a miniature moon bear. Like you go to the zoo, see one of those, and you'd be like, oh, okay, see what he's talking about. But
Alright, cool. So,
You have a friend who lives with you.
yes.
Tell me about that. Tell us about that a little bit.
My friend, he actually lived 2 houses down from me, but for certain reasons, his landlord kicked him out, and it was kind of just out of the blue. Like at 7 in the morning, they called his parents and just said, "Hey, get out." So we took them in and brought them over.
The whole family?
Not the whole family. Their brother moved. They went with their dad, and my friend and his mom came with us along with the dog. So they're actually moving out soon. They pretty much stayed for the entire summer. I've had an enjoyment being with them and all that. I know my mom has because she usually lives by herself. She used to just have me. So she was like, you know, everything goes bad, just come back here. I got friends again, so which is good.
so now you're saying, and I actually forgot to ask this question, and so I'll kind of revisit it. So no siblings, it sounds like, or siblings.
I actually do have a half sister. She lives in New York. She teaches. I forget what she teaches.
Okay.
I know she helps with special needs.
Okay.
Some of the stories she has was great. Like she also used to teach in Texas, and some of the special needs grew up to come to that school and help out with the other special needs. Apparently, one time, one of the teachers who went to the school and and did all that with them came in with ginger ale, like small cup of ginger ale, and acted like it was alcohol. And she started like making everything. She was like, "Woo! I'm gonna get so drunk." It's ginger ale. It's nothing else. And my teacher's trying to figure it out because she's got to deal with another teacher and all the students. It was hilarious. And also, when she was in Texas, they don't use bubble.
They
They
do
use
not.
water fountain. So when one of the students asked to go to use the water fountain, she was like, "Yeah, go use the bubbler." Got so scared. She was like, "What's the bubbler? I don't want to go to the bubbler." They're like, "No, it's the water fountain. Just go. You're okay." It was great. But
So now, does that mean you've grown up in Rhode Island your whole life?
for a year, I was born in Maryland.
Okay.
So for a year, I was there, and I came here.
Right.
Since there.
So moved from Maryland before Jasmine's first birthday. You don't even remember anything, but so you're here now, and you have a half sister in New York City. Have you visited her in New York?
I plan on going to with my dad, but I haven't gotten the chance yet.
So you have a dog, you would have brought the dog, you had another dog, you got some family living with you, which you like, and tell me about, well, actually, I'm going to stop because you guys kind of know what's going on. Any questions for Sean? Captain?
How old were you when you got your dog?
When I got my second dog, which is the dog I have now, it was probably me about like six or seven. I was supposed to get a gecko, and I really was. I had the tank and everything, and then last next door neighbors, they were moving. They had two dogs, and they couldn't take one. They can only take one, so they were gonna either give away the one that we took or just give it to the kennel, and so we ended up taking it. My dad got me really into the thought of having like a gecko. And I was like, wait, but what about the gecko? He's like, no, dog's way better, son. You gotta get the dog. I'm like, okay, you know, get the dog. So
Are you happy with the decision in retrospect?
I'm very happy with this decision I made.
So now you've taken in a dog at the age of 6. You've taken in a family this summer. Sounds like a very hospitable home.
I mean, everyone is welcome to my home. I really don't care. I love having company, so it's nice.
Do you have like big family holidays or whatever? You said your mom was just there, so maybe.
During the like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that, we get together mainly on my dad's side because most of my mom's side is in Maryland or Boston or whatever. My mom actually just went off to Maryland today at like 5 in the morning to go see her brother in Maryland. So
Cool.
she's gonna be gone for pretty much till tomorrow. And yeah, so I'll probably have like a lot of family that will pick me up, like my aunt, my uncle. They'll pick me up from the school because I have a long trip home to Westport. I don't get rides, so.
How long have you been shy?
Shy?
Oh, you're not shy. I just wondered if you've been shy for a long time. I think you made the right choice with the dog. It's tough to get geckos to fetch.
I probably is. That takes a lot of training. I mean, hey, and then came out to it. My friend got really into reptiles, and he got who's seen Jurassic Park in here, the first one? Everyone, pretty much everyone. I'm assuming. All right. Does everyone know the thing that kind of goes like that?
Yeah.
So they actually exist. Those things are real. They're just a really small version of them. You've probably seen the video. It's a lizard running on water.
Yeah.
That's what those are. They're actually called frilled lizards. They're worth like $200. He ended up getting one with the tank and everything. He got a bunch of geckos and everything. We took care of them. We used to be like a farm. We had a catfish maybe about that big that we got from down the fish bowl.
And where did you keep this massive catfish?
We eventually had to get rid of him. He started off maybe about like that big. We had a good sized tank, and then eventually became the size of the tank. So had to give him back.
He's hanging next to Pooh Bear.
Yeah. He's up there with Pooh Bear. Questions? More questions?
Do your neighbors ever let you know where they got the dough from?
No, they didn't. They kind of just said, all right, good. We don't have to give this dog the pound or the kennel or anything like that. They know us. They knew us, so they knew we were going to take care of them. But I actually don't even know my dog's birthday. I don't know if my mom knows it or like they told us. I'm pretty sure they kind of were just like, here, have a dog, and then that was it. They left. But,
Cool. That's great. Now I'm going to go back because I had siblings. Do you have siblings?
Yeah,
How many?
5.
Where do you fall?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest. Okay. All right. So I know you have at least a sister.
I have 2 siblings.
2 siblings. Sister and both older?
Yeah.
Cool. Get along?
Sure.
Sure. Who else did I hear from? That's it. All right. Who's next? Gabriel.
Yay.
Not wasting any time.
Alright, so my name is Gabriel. I'm in quality or 9th grader, and I brought with me a picture of my origami, because I'm really passionate about it. Pass that over. And I've been doing origami since I was in 2nd grade. My older sister Malate, she goes to Justice. She just told me this little boat, and I was in 2nd grade, so I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. I was like, how did you make that? She said, I took this class from this one guy, I think Mr. Sue. I was like, okay, so it's kind of like extended day, but only probably like 2 people off. So I went there and just like completely changed my way of interest.
So what is it about origami that you love?
I guess the satisfaction when you're done. Like, it's like really hard. It's like, actually, I brought more in because this is one of them. It's actually not in that picture.
Yeah, those of you who haven't seen the picture that's going around yet, it's pretty wild.
This one.
So you're gonna pull out
Wait,
football
there's
next?
actually-
And wait, there's more.
No.
All right.
So what is origami?
It's broken.
What is it?
It's kind of like it's broken, but it got the right idea.
Well, I want to see that one. Bring that one out. It's here.
It's a little
How do
broke.
these not get crushed in your back?
Yeah, this one got a big crush, but I fixed that. And I have like 2 out back.
Can we pass them around? I think there's some people who want to see those, like me. So you were saying you love the satisfaction of it. It's really hard. I think Nick asked which.
What origami? Where does it come from? What's the tradition?
It comes from Japan. It means the art of folding paper. So it's pretty much taking like a sheet of paper, and some guy just like, you know, to make art out of this, and they just kept expanding. They went to all different countries, especially America, and this guy named Robert J. Lang. He invented
It's a little louder for me.
Robert J. Lang. He invented like more origami models, like he made books. He made I made this one little thing. I lost it when I was in like 5th grade, but it's like this guy who's sitting down playing a piano and a violin. So I lost those, but I gave them away. So it's pretty fun.
So you.
How long would it take
Yeah.
you? How long does it take you to make something this size and this intricate?
That took about 30 minutes. It's really hard. Those are things for
30 minutes.
We call it modulars. So you take a single unit and you make it and form it into something bigger. That one took me 2 days. That one. Because it's like, it's sort of like a different structure. That one took me 12 minutes. That was very hard.
So it's interesting because you're a 9th grader, which means, you're relatively young. You've been doing this since 2nd grade. So you've been doing origami for more than half your life, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probe a little, there's something there that's really holding you to it. So there's the satisfaction of doing it. There's obviously an interest in the creation. Is there something bigger there, or is that it? Or like, what's the?
That's kind of it. I like finishing. I like looking at my work and I'm like, it's done now. So I show it to my family. They're like, oh, it's so cool. And so it's like showing it to everybody.
So do you like the showing? Do you get a lot of joy or pleasure from showing off the work as well, or is it the making, or is it both? Or
It's probably both. It's also because I fidget a lot. So like Miss Denise, she's like an advisor. She gets so mad at me because I do origami and she's like lying around in the room. So it gets get my hands like when I'm not doing anything with them. I just like fold stuff. So it takes my mind off of it.
did you ever get one of those fidget spinners?
No, I want one.
Does everybody know what perception is? Depth perception, sight perception? Being able to see things that are more than one-dimensional, more than a piece of paper. Yeah. Some people have virtually no perceptive ability. I'm one of them. If you show me a blueprint, if I show you a blueprint, and maybe many people in the room, you can imagine what it looks like when all the walls are stood up and all the doors are in place and what have you. To me, it's always flat, just lines on a piece of paper. I'm just astounded that somebody can do that.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah.
What I would add, so anybody here ever tried origami?
Really?
Yay.
Paper airplanes count?
Yeah, do paper airplanes count?
Well, it counts. Like that probably came from America. I don't think it was like a Japanese thing, but people have just been like, let's make a plane or something like that.
Do you ever enter into like paper airplane contests?
I watched a movie about it, but no, it sounds interesting though.
Yeah, I think there's like actual competitions with some money on the line. Huh?
Yeah.
Maybe? I can provide you with some paper. We could be a teammate. I'll bring the paper. You do all the heavy lifting, heavy folding, that is.
Yeah.
I bought an origami book once, and I'm an entrepreneurship teacher. I have an interest in business, and I've always been interested in money. I'm sure you all have been interested in money as well. And I got so suckered into buying this book. It was an origami book about folding money. So all these things were for folding money. And do you know why I purchased the book? because on the front of it, there was this plastic sleeve, and they put a crisp, beautiful $1 bill that came included with the book. So I spent $15 on the book because I was like, there's $1 in there. Which, by the way, I know, so I spent 14. So it's like this $1 cash back, but here's the thing. You never know what's gonna come back into your life and what's gonna matter, because I will always remember the joy of buying something and then getting $1 bill. Like, it was amazing. It was really a novel concept. So I used to sell clothes online, American-made clothes, and every time I would sell clothes, I'd wrap it in brown paper and I'd put $1 bill right on the top of the package. So the first thing that you would see when you unwrap these used clothes was a brand new fresh dollar, and you'd be like, huh, this is great, I love this guy, right? My reviews were astronomically high because I got a free dollar. I will always remember that. So these things will come back, right? So the Japanese art of folding paper suckered into buying it for $1, and then 10, 15 years later, running a business, I remember that story. So you said Malate is your sister, and she's gone through E360. Has anybody here had a good friend, sibling, person they know go through E360? Raise your hand for me. Okay, nice. So we got some people who know about E360. What do you know about E360 that made you want to take this class? In one sentence, 2 sentences, or less, or something.
That I got to start my own business. That I get to learn how to develop a business, an idea, how to keep it going.
Okay. So just learning how to start that business, and origami is going to play a central role in this, I take it?
Yeah.
Very cool. Questions for Gabriel?
Two. First off, do you know Lynn in Unity? No? You should go visit her. She also does origami. Yeah, that's the only reason why I know how to do like a swan. If she taught me, and one of the basics. But you could have probably a good conversation with her. And even if it, your business does have to do with someone with that, you have someone to talk to that might help you out. Awesome. And I had another one, totally forgot it. Talking too long on this question, so yeah.
Lynn and Unity, follow up on that.
Can you back me the...
He's like, can you give me that back? Here, let's pass.
What's the biggest thing you've made?
Where's the picture? Oh, there we go. The ball. You see the 2 balls that are on the top? They take up 250 sheets of paper, and it took me about 9 months. And that's probably the biggest one.
And so I had asked you if you were familiar with the word geodesic.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
So I saw like the structures, and it actually did look like it. So there's just one origami piece that I didn't bring. It's called the Pusadama, and it's like one of them looked like it. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, I guess they do kind of resemble geodesic shapes.
Yeah, I think those large ones are geodesics. They look like it. So look into that.
Can I keep this?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I printed out some origami of it, and you just got all excited. We have a full-scale print shop on the other side of the room. If there's any photographers in the room, any people who do lookbooks for their fashion, if you need printing done, if you ever have an album cover and you want to walk in and have us print you an album cover, I'll ask if there's swears in the album. Of course, you just lie to me, say no, I'll print the cover, and we'll move on. But if you need printing done, if you need photos printed, if you want artwork done here, just come on over. That's one of the perks of being here. All right, who's next? Brian.
My name is Brian. Some of my friends call me Brianna because I look like a girl. I had a godfather who actually came here, and he knew Jody, and I think he knew you too. But he already graduated, and he told me everything about E360.
Who is your godbrother?
Christian.
Christian.
Martinez.
Okay.
So he told me I should join because he seen I was interested in business. So yeah, and I wanted to join. Before that, I didn't get the chance to unfortunately. I've been at the Met for 2 years, well, a year about to be 2 years. I came from UCAP, and before that, I also went to Gilbert, but I left 7th grade because I had problems and ended up getting jumped. And they didn't really hurt me, they couldn't throw a punch well. When I got to UCAP, one thing I'm really interested in is wrestling. I wrestled for Juanita Sanchez on varsity. I came it means a lot to me because my father unfortunately went through a path that was really bad, and it kind of like showed me what path I really don't want to get into, and make me think that I don't want to be like, I have friends that smoke and drink, but I don't want to do any of those things because I have genetically something that will get me addicted to things, and I don't want to do that because that messes up my business and where I want to be in life. But also, my dad was also somewhat of a businessman. He was gonna get promoted into like management, but then he passed away and a bunch of other stuff happened. My uncle took the job place. My father's side, we're not very close to them because they snaked us. When I was 3 and he died, they took all my father's money, left to Texas, a lot huge houses. So my mother had to fight and had to push 2 kids by her own. But I have 3 siblings. One is in Honduras. I got 2 here. The one in Honduras and the oldest one here, they're my half sisters, but they're like, we treat each other the same. We don't see any differences. And the one that she has the same father with, she lives with us. She's really annoying. But she was also going to do 360 because she came here, but she didn't take the opportunity. And she told me to take as much opportunities as I can, and that really stuck with me. And that's why I also joined E360. I do certification classes and have a college class. And
Thank you for
any
sharing.
questions?
He's really picking up, he hit on all the things, right? He's like sort of learning as we go. I like that. Questions for Brian? You know I always have some, but.
Tell me something, what is your ethnicity?
Guatemalan and Honduran.
Say again?
Guatemalan and Honduran.
Have you ever been to Honduras?
Yeah, I have actually. I went, before 6th grade started, when I was really small. Like, in middle school, I was 4'11". 5'4", thank God now. But I went over there, I got to learn soccer, and I see how people live over there. It's really different. And there was this kid that used to walk around the neighborhood in just his underwear, and no one cared. And I was like, he doesn't have clothes. And I started feeling bad. And I was like, no, he does. He just likes to be in his underwear. I met a lot of unique people around there. When I got to play in the field with the kids, there was like a bunch of cow poop everywhere. And one kid picked it up and threw a piece of the other kid, and it started to rain, and they all got covered in blood and stuff. But it was a pretty good experience over there.
Did you like UCAP?
Yeah, it did. It's like the Met a lot. UCAP has taught me a lot. I had really good teachers there that motivated me. One of them thought I wasn't going to do anything, and I came back and I showed them all my certifications, and I had to be quiet.
Still wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 2 years left?
Club? You wrestle for the team, on team?
Yeah. Funny they just started, so we actually won our division this year, which is pretty cool.
Fingers working again?
Yeah, my fingers out fine. The baddest injuries I have from last time is I messed up a muscle of my wrist, and that made me lose 2 times in UCAP and made me like break my undefeated record. I was also team captain also, and I have a crooked jaw.
What's your go-to move? What's your best move?
So when the match starts, I grab them by the neck like this, and I start like moving them around and get them really mad. And if I could pull him down to he hits the floor, I'll do it once. And if I think that he did hit the floor, I'll do it again, spin around him, and just like trip him over. But if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna be more aggressive with them. I like push their face, and when they can't see, I dive under and pick them up, and I drive to like the left or the right, and slam them. And I tend to choke a lot. Like you can have.
So if you could stay on those 2 tables, and I'll stay, well, that'll be your side of the room. No.
I actually got in trouble because
Really?
I was wrestling a D1 student, and I threw him everywhere. I was just bullying him, and then I was gonna pin him, and I looked away while I had him, and I was doing it for like style points. turned around, the kid was on the floor like this, like bridging, and it was hard for him to breathe. I felt really bad. He cried.
Okay. Were you here when Brandon said you had 3 excused absences? You didn't have to come? Yeah. Talk to me if you need a 4th one.
You can have 4. All right, cool. All right, so wrestling, it sounds like there's definitely a competitive nature in you a little bit. Would you say a competitive streak? Who here's got a competitive streak in them? That's it?
I have traditions.
Okay.
When I win, I like celebrate, talk to my friends and everything. And when I lose, I go in my room, I turn all my lights off, I don't talk to no one, and I stay in my bed and cry.
Gabriel's got a question.
Yeah, I've taught myself like different MMA moves and different locks. And I have a friend who does mixed martial arts, so he teaches me stuff and I do a lot of research on it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah. Made my job easy. I didn't have to ask too many questions. I like that. Who's up?
My name is Sean. I'm a senior from Liberty. This is my first full year at the Met. I came here last March. I came from Bolton, terrible school. So it was just the transition so quick. One day on a Thursday I'm in the hallway, and they're like, "Yo, like the Met accepted you, and you think you'll get that last Friday to come back, say goodbyes." It was like, "Nope, Friday's your first day," and it was just the transition. Like it's just so different every way. So I'm just always just open to. I feel like being that time at the Hope, spending that time at Hope, it just made me appreciate everything here 10 times more. But there's a lot of stuff that Met kids that have been here all 4 years, they'll say, and then they'll be like, "Yo, but they'll say something that they don't let it go here, and I'll tell them that compared to other high schools, like there's none of that. But today, I brought, actually I got a picture of it's like kind of like a stream of like motivational messages that my girlfriend made me. So like every morning I wake up and I just feel like I'll pass it around. I just feel like whatever, like as I wake up, as I went to bed, whatever's on my mind, I wake up and I just feel like I read one that I need for the day and it gets me going. So before good morning, anything, my breath was thinks and I'm reading that. So it means a lot and show me that she cared, but she ain't even really arts and crafts.
What's your favorite quote on? Do you memorize any of these quotes? Oh wow, this is nice.
Yeah, my favorite one on there was she said, "You're ugly, you like a monkey, but you're still cute." And yeah, she always she called me a monkey. I don't find it funny. Like,
I don't find it funny.
I like a monkey, I guess, but yeah, it means a lot to me. I'm just a very meaningful person. No matter what I do, I just like it gotta be meaningful to me for me to want to put my name on it, or for me to want to even associate with it. Everything has got to be meaningful.
And when you say it got to be meaningful, it sounds like values and principles. Like, what are some of those values, principles? What do you stand behind? What won't you stand behind? But more importantly, what will you stand behind?
I just feel like a lot of kids nowadays, they get caught up in like the wave, and it never necessarily, it might not mean nothing to them, but they just see that it holds significance to like a larger group. But I'm totally against that. So everything, I just totally want to everything should be oriented through you. It should be 100% you. Whatever you do, it should not be like, yeah, it should be, it may be inspired by somebody else, but I feel like it should just, everything that I do is all my ideas, and I just try to connect through, like, just being as real with myself as possible. That's the message that I give you.
So, now, does that travel, I mean, so it sounds like it travels over definitely in a relationship with your girlfriend. Does that travel over family? You got brothers, sisters, family?
I have one sister, and I currently live with an uncle and a cousin. So I'm 17, I'm the youngest, but my mind state is way up there. So whenever I can have those conversations with them, and they can't do it without me. So that's what I feel like. That's because everything I do is always meaningful. I give a lot of thought into everything. I tend to overthink. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. More times it's bad, but I use it to my advantage when I can.
What are you usually thinking about?
I'm on the other place all the time of the day. So generally, I'm just thinking about how I could just do better for myself.
And when you were at Hope, so there was a point, I mean, so you were at Hope until 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the sort of turning point where you said,
Like when I first, cause I went to Gilbert too, and when I was in Gilbert, I was the kid that like the class clown, but I got my work done enough, but I was the class clown. But then once I got to Hope, like I actually put different. I didn't want to go to Hope, but my dad like we got a relationship with the basketball coaches, so it was kind of I remember being in the Met presentation at Gilbert and just totally blowing it off because I already had I'm gonna go play basketball for a traditional high school and rep, and that's just why I was feeling. I went to Hope and I did that for 2 years. I played freshman, junior, and varsity my freshman year. My head got too big, and I came back 10th grade year, and I felt like I had to go to none of the workouts. And then they was just like, you know what, JV is all for you. And that, it kind of like messed with me mentally, because I was also going through changes of like, I cut my hair, I used to have dreads, and it was like, I never had nobody put onto me the spiritual, like meaning that comes with the hairstyle, because they said, when you get dreads, it's a crown. So like, a lot of that, I feel like that's when I developed that overthinking, like, was it like, and I fell off the back of basketball, and like, I started hanging in the hallways, and like, necessarily my habits had changed, and that's why I came to the Met, and I made the best of myself, because I was the kid that was in the Hope, and I was in the hallway, I was disrespecting teachers, like, walking out of class, don't talk to me, headphones in, like, and that's why I had the opportunity, because I know a lot of kids that they never got to see what I get to see on this campus. So like that, it shows a lot, it brings a lot out of me to come here every day and to know that I do this for anyone who still might be at home, like walking in and out of the hallways and don't really know what they're doing or what they're doing. So that's why I really do overthink everything.
I like it. Questions? So now, questions for Vishan, but Vishan, if you want to go by your nickname, you're more than welcome to introduce
you could. Anybody usually welcome to call me Mookie. I usually get referred to by Mookie, and I usually see it when people become more comfortable with me, because Vishan, this is Vishan, this is not Mookie. When you catch me doing other things, you'll catch Mookie. And like, I tend to preach about, not really like preach the word of God, but just preach realness, because I feel like not too many people do that nowadays.
I like it. Thank you. Questions for Mookie?
What's your interest?
My interest, I have a local, I'm here now for business. I do a local car detailing, and I also want to do fashion, but I'm more leaning towards my car detailing here, and I'm leaning more towards fashion for my interest.
Go ahead.
Have you ever played basketball before?
Oh yeah, it got to like, I used to play football. I played 2 years for Cowboys, and then I played 1 year tackle, and I broke my thumb. And then in the process of just sitting back, I played basketball with my cousin because I can still shoot a basketball. But and that's when I kind of fell in love with it. And like everything, I never had nobody be like, yo, let's go get in the gym. It was just always me grabbing the basketball and do that. I did everything on my own. So that's why, even though my basketball never got as far as I would have liked, I still hold everything I did. Like close my heart, because I know where it started from just me. Like, so yeah. I'm trying to get back on basketball court this year for times 2 or anything. But I'm trying to work it into my schedule.
Other sports? Anybody play sports for another team? I know you're wrestling for. What did you say, Juanito Sanchez?
Yeah.
I play for Renegades AAU.
Okay.
They also changed the name to Revolution Sports. So they don't have a 9th grade team this year, so it's a draft for 10th grade.
What sport?
Basketball.
Basketball. Okay. Anybody else? Sports?
Yeah, basketball. I played for Revolution. I played 10th grade.
Okay, cool. You guys see each other? You recognize them now?
I never seen him.
So one of you. Which one's telling? Cool. Now you probably will notice each other now. I don't know if you guys are in the gym at the same time. But you're playing still?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay, hi, good morning, everybody.
There we go.
I saw the eyes. He was like, who's going to be my next one?
Giselle, your voice might travel and pick up on this microphone. This could be good. I like this.
The mic?
No, it's not a mic.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'm still a bit new to the Met. I mean, I don't call myself new, but every time I interact with everybody from all the other buildings, I feel like I'm new. So I transferred to the Met for my junior year of high school in the very beginning, and I've been here ever since. And I love it here. I'm originally from Dominican Republic. I was born there. All my familial roots trace all the way back to there. And my parents were both born and raised like in really rural towns in the country. But my dad and brought my family over here, and we immigrated to America because he got a work visa. So basically when they give you a work visa, that means that you have a skill that's valuable enough that the company wants to bring you over to this country because they can't really find anybody else within the country that has that skill. Let's see what else. So I brought one of my pieces of art today to display to you guys, because this is something that's really important to me. Do you guys want me to pass it
I'll
around?
hold it
This is
up.
kind of big.
I'll hold it up.
Okay. Yeah, and I did this around the time that I came out to my community and sort of came out to my family, which is pretty interesting, because as an artist, I've always been continuously finding ways to express myself creatively. Ever since I was a little girl, I've just always been drawing. I've always been doing something creative. And when my parents and I couldn't communicate through language barriers, I would actually draw things out for them to have them understand what I was trying to say. And so this was another example of me doing that, except this is an art form called screen printing. And what's really cool about this is that I have several prints in the back. I'm not going to take them out, but when you screen print something, you're able to make multiple copies of it that look the exact same as long as you get the main image down. So I can mass produce this. I have, including myself, we are 8 siblings in total. We don't all have the same parents. I'm related to all of them, but they are not all related to one another. Let's see, what else? Do you guys have any questions?
I don't think I saw your hand when Brandon asked this, but have you ever tried to work on it?
No, I mean I have, but not sufficiently to feel like I can say, oh, you know, I do origami. Like, no, like I've made a plane. I'm pretty sure everybody in here has made a plane. That's about as deep into origami as I've ever gotten. But you're pretty cool. You're dope.
Do you display and sell your art?
I do. I'm working on being more consistent at the rate at which I produce my artwork in order to be able to sell it. And also just marketing myself more and putting myself out there some more. But that's just something that I do as like a personal endeavor. Maybe I'll decide to take that on as a business venture, but that's just something that I've been doing for forever. Something else that I think would be really cool to mention about me is that when I came into the Met, I thought that I would be focusing on art. I thought that I wanted to be like a graphic designer or something like that. And then I got here and I sort of started experimenting and dipping my feet into all these different things. And I figured out that I'm really into STEM. And before I got to the Met, I wasn't necessarily very confident in myself in terms of like how good at math I was, because I was continuously hearing, oh, you know, girls aren't good at math. Especially at classical, very snobby. Yeah. But then I came here and like the math teacher that I had my junior year of high school here really changed my life. Edward, shout out to Edward. And then from then on, I just sort of like blossomed out and started doing a bunch of other stuff. So I've continuously always been like doing all this really cool creative stuff, but more recently I've been getting a lot more into like programming and mechanical engineering and things like that. Yeah.
Tell us something about your programming.
Something about my programming?
Yeah, what are you doing there?
I mean, I have no idea. What I really love about like computer science.
My shoulder's getting tired. I'm sorry.
I got you.
Bad
I got you. Listen. Oh wow.
Here, why don't
Feeling
I'm
exceptionally
putting it down?
short.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, there you go. Now we're getting innovative.
There we go. Something about my programming. Well, one thing that I really love about computer science is the fact that it's such an interdisciplinary field. So basically, anything that you are interested in, I promise you, you'd be able to find some sort of niche in computer science that you would be able to relate to when it comes to programming. And that's with everything. And I really like how you can relate so many things to it, but it's also so adaptable that you can really make it anything that you want it to be. I feel like anybody who knows how to program really knows how to write the future, because that's where our society is headed right now. So, yeah.
Say something about apps.
Something about
Come on. Say something about apps.
something about apps. Apps are cool.
Are you developing any?
I'm currently working on.
Here we go.
I'm currently working on, the initial stages of developing an app, because I'm doing this competition for girls in technology where you basically have to develop an app to meet some need in your community. We still haven't exactly narrowed down what we want to focus on yet, but we are working on it slowly but surely. We've got some time. Any other questions? Do you want me to say anything else about apps?
I want you to say whatever you want.
Okay.
Anything you want.
Maybe that was enough.
Let's get some questions from folks we haven't heard from. I keep hearing the same questions from the same voices. Not to say that I don't appreciate those questions, but let's hear from some folks we haven't heard from.
I'm sorry, actually, I want to say Brian?
There
It
you
is?
go, Brian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You couldn't help her out at all? She's like, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. You're like, I know you did. But she got there, that was good.
What do you think is like the most difficult part of coding? Because I did it for a little bit and I couldn't do it. It was really
Of the screen printing?
Coding.
Or coding the screen?
Wait, hold on, what are we talking about here? Ask that question again louder.
like the computer science coding.
Oh my goodness.
We can see where her passion really lies. She's like, I'm not talking about coding, I want to talk about this screen behind me. Yeah.
What? No. What's the most difficult thing about programming? For me personally, I feel like one of the most difficult things about coding is when there's a bug in the code and I can't find what it is, because that really irks my soul. And then because I am a perfectionist, and that is definitely just a rough flaw to have, because you will sometimes never get anything done if you don't get over it. I will spend hours fixating on one program, trying to find where this bug is. And it's happened to me previously where I've been just sitting down a whole day on one program trying to figure out what's wrong with it, right? And then the minute that I decided, okay, I'm gonna take a break from this, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna go back to this. The very next morning, within the first 5 minutes that I looked at the program, I was able to solve the problem. So that right there just goes to show you that a set of fresh eyes is really important every once in a while, and it's also really important to take care of yourself and take breaks and not be overly excessive. So what's the biggest problem for me in coding? It would be fixating when there's a bug and learning when to take a break and go back to it. Yeah. Gabriel?
Are you where do you fit in the sibling line? Are you the oldest, youngest?
I'm the youngest of all. And I'm also the shortest one.
Who here, describe your sibling scenario for me again, because I think it's exactly the same as mine.
So
You're related to all of them, but
I'm related to all of them, but they are not all related to one another.
who here can identify with that?
Yeah, Lita?
Who here can identify at the scale of which you're talking about? So I have 7 and I'm 8, and I'm like the middle linchpin that all the families are connected to, but no, they're not all connected to. Who said about their half-sister, but they did not want to call them a half-sister because it's totally not representative of the relationship? Yeah, I've got that, and I used to be a real pain point. Don't call them a half-sibling. We're gonna have a problem if you say they're a half-sibling, right? Yeah, I don't like that either, because I've grown up with them my whole life. Everybody have half-step that they've grown up with their whole life who you just consider full siblings, yeah. All right.
How many, Lita? How many?
How many siblings I have?
Yeah.
7.
Oh, so you do fall in.
Another.
7, 7, 7, right?
Yeah.
With you 8. So with you 8 and with me 8.
Wow.
Anybody else want to take a run at us?
I got 32 aunts and uncles.
Boom.
A lot of aunts.
Yeah.
A lot of cousins.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a lot of cousins, or we're going to have a lot of nieces and nephews. I fear Christmas time. I'm like going to have to put a hard stop on present giving at like 40.
Start in June, just like put a
Yeah,
savings account,
yeah, right.
$20
I have a
day.
perpetual savings account for nieces and nephews. And okay. All right, let's get somebody else. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's very nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, I printed this on shirts. I doubt anybody noticed because we were all too busy listening to you guys. But my teacher was actually wearing a T-shirt with this design on it that she got for me when we came in.
Do you still have them for sale?
Yeah, I do.
Let us know. All right, who's next?
Oh, come on, Lee, you got a toe in, you might as well.
Yeah, you already started. You already were the last person to talk.
My name is Leah. I'm a sophomore in the Justice Building. I decided to join the PCC Forum because I want to start my own business, selling natural products. Hopefully I can learn how to make recipes and how I will get the ingredients and all that. What I brought in was a picture. I have a picture of my mom, me, and my dad. So you guys have a lot of siblings. To me, family is really important. I came here from DR, Dominican Republic, when I was 12 with my mom and my nephew. We came here because my sister had moved here like a couple years before us, and she was really lonely, and it was kind of a big change for all of us. So we decided to come here, and we just started a new fresh life from the Dominican Republic. I have my dad's side of the family still in DR, and then I have a couple siblings. I have my brother, my sister that was here before, and a couple aunts and cousins here too. But most of my family is in the Dominican Republic. Any questions about me?
Do you have a lot of family that lives like in America at all?
Yeah, I have a few aunts that I don't know. They live in Florida, I think, and then I have an aunt that lives in New York. And then there's a couple family members from my dad's side too that I don't know that well. They live in Florida.
You got one.
What middle school did you go to?
Huh?
What middle school?
Oh, so I went to Roger Williams Middle School. It was really bad. I had a bad experience. People just don't care there. The teachers, students, nobody cares.
And so what did you care about at the time that you are not getting attention about?
So back then I was careless too. At first I cared a lot about like school, my education, but then like I started seeing that my friends, anybody around me was like, I don't care, like there's work, I'm gonna do it at home, what am I gonna do with this period? So I started not caring as much either. Then when I got to 8th grade, it was like, I was like, oh crap, I'm going to high school. Like I should start getting my stuff done, and my mom started recognizing that I wasn't doing anything either. So that's kind of when I started getting on track with my work and stuff.
And so you've been at Met both years?
Yeah, I've been in the here since then.
And so what is it, so you want to do natural products and whatnot, but what is it that you've been doing here? What have you been interested in? What have you been sort of working on?
So first last year I was interested in photography. Then around the summertime I didn't really want to do photography as like a career. I kind of seen that wasn't something that I would see myself doing constantly. So I decided to try to find something new in the summer so I can do it this year. And then I would be thinking like, oh, like I really like natural products and having my hair curly and like going natural. So I started thinking, why would I go buy a product that I can make myself that is like $30, $20? Then I can do like take a few things and just make it myself and like, you know. So I started thinking that way and I was like, I could sell this, I could make a business out of it. So I just thought of that. I thought it would be a pretty cool project to do.
Who here, and I'm wondering if this is a common thread, and if not, no big deal, but who here sort of has that line of thinking where you're either making something, you're doing something, you're buying something, you're at some talk that's totally unrelated, or in some class, and it's always like, there's a business is there a business? So just show of hands, like who's always sort of thinking of business ideas, okay? Sort of looking at the world through that lens, all right? That would make sense that you all applied to E360 and are here, but that's like a perpetual thing that I think we all are blessed by and then suffer from, because you just can't get out of your own way. It's like, oh, business idea, business idea, business idea.
Read usually starts off as a joke and then kind of gets in depth. And then like at towards the end, they're like, you know what, done, we're doing
Let's
it.
do it, let's do it. Yeah, they usually always start off and then it gets sort of serious and somewhere along the line you say, how do you get here? Have you been back to the DR?
No, I haven't been there in like 2 years. I went, I think in 7th grade for vacation, but I haven't been there in a while.
You want to go back?
Yes.
I can imagine so. You gonna travel? When are you gonna travel back there next?
I'm thinking of going maybe for Christmas break this year.
Okay.
Hopefully, if not, for summer vacation.
Do you think your senior project will have something to do with the DR or no?
I don't want to have something to do with DR because I noticed that there's a lot of people that are doing senior projects and going back to their home countries, and that doesn't seem kind of fair. That's it. It looks clever, but it's not something that I'm saying to do. Like I want to travel somewhere else
Okay.
or help another country.
If you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go?
Greece.
Greece. Okay, cool. Anybody else have you travel any places they really want to see?
When I was 2 years old, I went to Bahamas, so I'd go back there.
You want to go back to Bahamas?
I want to go to Japan.
Okay.
Turkey. Italy.
Ireland.
Europe in this class. I like it. I like it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Where's the furthest? Who thinks they've been the furthest? Where you been?
I've been to Rwanda.
Okay. You might take the cake.
I went to Cape Verde, I don't know if that's farther than Rwanda.
That's pretty cool.
I don't think it's farther than Rwanda. Is it farther than Rwanda? No, it's off closer.
Rwanda's on the equator. I don't know if
Yeah.
Cape
I
Verde
think I got
is.
the town Pat, Florida.
Yeah, you got that.
2 states down, maybe 4, I don't know.
Well, from where you were before. You're gonna be quiet. He's like, I'm not participating.
Before I
What's
moved
one?
here with my mom, we used to live in Italy for like 3 years, so then we moved back here.
You lived in Italy, huh? Where's anybody else live abroad? Live abroad. So we're either born abroad. Let's go born abroad first. Not born here. We've talked about that a little bit. I got some DR, right? You said you were born in DR, right? DR. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Lived in Italy. Anybody else live in another country for a while?
I live in Puerto Rico, but
Okay, you live in Puerto, so you were born here, then moved to Puerto Rico, and then came back. Okay,
A bit.
a bit.
I'll go to
Puerto Rico. Okay. Same. No, nothing. I thought I heard you guys chit chatting about it. All right. Cool.
Where does it fit?
I was 2 years old, so like 5 months was like a lot. So we probably stayed there for like a year because I don't know, it's nice there.
All right. Who's up next? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Oh, here's something I'll mention. You will never beat the clock in E360. If this goes till 12 o'clock and we get to 12 o'clock and there are 2 people that still haven't gone, we'll just sit here and we'll just go into lunch, right? So there is no buzzer beat. You will not beat the clock on this game. So everybody will share. Everybody will participate. I don't think that's what's going on, but if you're thinking you're going to run that clock down behind me, you're crazy. There's a clock right there.
Oh, that one actually works.
It does. It doesn't. It's a little old, but it's keeping time. I'm pretty sure.
Like 2 minutes.
I'm Liam. I'm a senior at Liberty. I transferred here halfway through last year. I was in North Kingstown before. I didn't have issues there, but I just really didn't like it, which, I don't know, it seems stupid. I just didn't want to be there. I really wanted to get out of it, so came here. Well, I applied, and all that. I live in Jamestown. which is kind of far, not really, but I really like fashion. I'm just getting into interior design. I just like design. I like money. So.
Show of hands,
here.
anybody else with that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, exactly. I brought in a ring. I always wear it. It's my dad's ring. Greg and I are just kind of tight. I don't know if you want to pass it.
Greg's your dad?
Greg is my dad. Yeah.
Do you call him by Greg or you call him dad?
Well, yeah, he's Greg. My mother's Denise. We've known each other since I've been born. So I figured by now we're on a first name basis, and that is why I call him Greg. People think it's weird. Kind of is. But that's, yeah, no, that's it. I don't really have anything else.
So is it technically really your ring if it's your dad's ring?
Well, I took it. It was on his desk, and he's got like sausage fingers now, and so it doesn't fit. So I just, yeah. But it is technically his. I don't know if he knows I have it, but
I'm sure he's probably seen it on your finger.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I would assume so. Yeah.
And as you notice, Liam is, I'm not messing around this ring. No,
Well,
you can all see it.
I just didn't think it was if anybody wanted to see it. I'll pass it around. I'll pass it around. I have a really solid tan line from it because I don't take it off.
What's engraved on it?
His initials, GKG. Gregory Keith.
Okay.
Why not East Bay? Why don't you go to East Bay?
Providence had an opening first.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have siblings?
I have a half sister. She's Greg's. She lives in North Carolina. She's 30-ish. But she's like, we're tight.
If I need
We
to,
didn't.
no, go ahead.
We never lived together, but like she used to live in Middletown, which is like 15 minutes away from where I live, but like not this way. And but she would like sleep over like on the weekends and stuff, and like I don't know, yeah, we were tight. Yeah.
If I had to know one thing, if we had to know one thing about you, what would you want us to know? What would be the thing?
Take a second to interpret everything that comes out of my mouth because it's most likely not going to come out comprehensive at all. Yeah, just take a second.
Okay. Questions?
Were you born in the country or in a different country?
I was born here. I've never lived elsewhere. I lived in same house, same stuff. We added an addition though. It was.
It's like a whole new thing.
Yeah, when I was like 6, so before it was like the size of the table, and that part was like a back porch, and then it was like, I'm using the table as the house, just for visual. Yeah, it's scaled down, not much, like realistically the size of it, but like, I don't know, and then we added it, and that was moderate amount. Yeah. Okay. Well. Nice to meet you guys.
Questions? Yeah.
How did you get to
Yes.
Greg and Denise? Did you just decide one day, will they call me by my first name? So
Pretty much. I mean, it's not mom and dad on the birth certificate, so I figured. It's really a sign of respect, which people misinterpret. People think it's very rude, but
I kind of, but show us your mother's face the first time you called her Denise.
she appreciated it because the reason I started with my mom is just because, like, when we were in public and I was trying to find her, instead of yelling mom, literally like 30 different mothers that look at me. And also then they're all gonna try to help me find my mom, and I don't want that. I'd rather just go Denise, and then she's like, yep, I know what that is. Yeah.
And how did Greg take it?
Greg, he adjusted. He was a little taken aback.
Tried that with my mom and dad. Didn't work too well. Didn't really. My dad's not too good with hearing. So I'll be like, Dad, hey Dad, Mike, don't you call me that. But you answer to it, don't you? And then he's like, don't you dare call me that. I'm like, alright, try it with my mom. Same thing. I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, we have a problem here. Some people get into find it odd to call teachers by their first names here. A lot of holdovers like Miss and Mister and all that. It's a hard habit to break. You don't have to break it, but it's
Well, it was
definitely
very easy to reiterate.
culture difference.
It switched for me so quickly. I mean, my friend who was a regular high school in West Warwick High, and he's like, "Oh, Miss Blessington, blah blah blah." I'm like, "You mean this person?" And they're like, "No, you get to say the last name." I'm like, "It's right." Yeah. I'm not used to going up to my teacher and say, "Hey, this Conway." I'm just saying Monique. It's weird. I mean, but I'm used to it by now.
What did you mean when you said they go to a regular high school?
Well, I mean, to me, this isn't a regular high school. This is a place where, like,
Alternative learning,
Alternative-
Say it louder.
alternative learning as opposed to traditional education.
Is that what you meant?
yeah, pretty much like when I saw high school or whatever, I enjoyed it very much. But they had a similar thing like this. They had the VOTEC program. I'm guessing, I don't know if you know about it, but it's pretty much you go to Tollgate and you do the same thing that we do here. It's just 2 days out of the week. But I feel like when I heard about this more, don't get me wrong, of course, my friend was like paid internships. I was like, yo, I'm coming here. I came here, found out the reality. I still loved it though. I was like, all right, I maybe not be getting paid, but it's still some alternative learning. No, there's like, mechanics, which what was I originally going to go into. Now I hear about it, all they do is test. That's all they hear. They sit down, they don't work on nothing, they test. And then once they're done testing with everything, maybe like the last 2 months of school, they actually work on cars and stuff, which I didn't like the sound of at all. I thought that was great. And then, 10th grade year, walked into 10th grade just already with an mechanic internship, which was what I wanted to do. Came out great. Got to learn some stuff. So that's what all school's all about. So.
Well, we're getting down to Aaron, James,
James, wait, tag me in, coach.
So I'm James, I'm a senior in Justice, 17 years old, born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. I got 5 siblings, 3 older brothers, and 2 older sisters. I'm the youngest. I like being the youngest.
Why's that?
I'm the baby, and when I used to live with both my mom and my dad, and my older brother, everything he did was a problem. Everything I did was just like, oh, he's just young. I got away with
That's still working?
No, I live with my aunt now, and I live with my cousin who's the same age as me. She goes to P Street. So I like to live with someone that's the same age as me. Have someone to talk to and bounce off of a lot. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I brought this folder. I've had this folder for like 2 years. I got it when I first started getting into art, illustration, graphic design, whatever, which was last year, 11th grade. That's when I first really knew I wanted to do this for my life. I could see myself sitting down, working on my sketches, drawings, whatever, putting them on clothes, anything, backpacks, hats, socks, just putting all my designs on something, selling. So that's why I came to 360 also. But so this is important to me because this has all the first copies of anything I've ever drawn. It's all like beat up because I've had this for so long, but that's why it means a lot to me. So,
Thanks.
yeah, that's about it.
At first, I wasn't gonna be honest, wasn't sure where you were going with the folder. Thought you were just gonna pass around just a folder, like there was nothing in it. Feel like I had this freshman year first exhibition. This is what I used.
Questions?
Any sports?
When I was like real young, I used to play a lot of basketball. Played football for like 2 years. Then I saw that like every kid, typical African American kid playing basketball. So I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I had to make my money some other way. So that's when I started getting interested in art. I never really deeply invested in it. Throughout middle school, I went to Nathan Bishop Middle School, by the way. It was an alright middle school. But a couple years before, they got a lot of funding, so that they're gonna rebuild and remodel their school. So now they have basketball courts and tennis courts and all that. But that's when I first started. When I
Now, so do you go to like ASU 20, New Urban Arts, any after-school art stuff, or are you doing this mostly on your own?
This is all about myself.
Any interest in doing that stuff? Getting support around that? And
For my STP, I want to do an art gallery. I want to do it at ASU 20, my advisor told me like that'd be a number, so I have to do a lot of talking to them. But I also had previous students who met last like seniors. He hosted an event at ASU 20 also, and I went to the event, and like it kind of inspired me because I just saw like what you could do when you use your time but to its most valuable. So,
yeah, so I mean, it sounds like you go to Newark. I would look into Newark.
yeah, she invited me.
And?
I haven't gone.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say the reason I'm pushing that right now is because, I mean, if you've got interest in stuff, there's some really great, in terms of art, but anything, there's all these organizations. And so one thing that I'll always be asking people to do is using those resources and using, and start getting linked up to those things that are out there. Yeah, yeah. No, please.
By the way, at NOAA, we just hired somebody who like specifically does mentoring revolving around graphic design. So I think it would be really cool if you like came in and tried to work with that person in the space, especially seeing as that's what she does professionally outside of New Urban Arts. She like works for the government doing graphic illustration. So
I'm gonna push you to do that.
It's really nice.
And so you're the youngest of 5, 6, really, the youngest of 6. You're the 6. You see your siblings?
One of my older brothers was by himself, one lives with my dad right now, and one's locked up. And one of my sisters I didn't know. I didn't know about her basically most of my life. My other little sister, I see her all the time. She has 5 kids.
So you're an uncle?
Yeah.
Do you like being an uncle?
Yeah, but one of my nieces is actually a year older than me.
Okay, all right.
It's kind of weird.
There's that. There's that.
You ever try telling them or what to do? Didn't really work.
In public, she wants me to call her my cousin.
Yeah.
But,
Love James. All right, cool.
Hang on just a second. James, you're easy access to the internet?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get together the next time, would you do something for me? Go online and spend about 10 or 15 minutes looking at Northwest Native American totem poles.
Probably want to write that one down. That'll be the first thing in your E360 binder. Northwest Native American totem poles. I'm guessing there's a link between your art. Maybe not.
There better be.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
There better be, or never mind.
How do you spell totem pole?
TOTEM.
Poles.
Poles. POL. All right.
Well,
Let's get into the witching hour. Starts to get uncomfortable at the debut. How you doing?
I'm debut, 15, sophomore at Equality. I just transferred there like last week.
What day is this for you?
I think this makes a full week, I think.
Okay.
what, at the net?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so his debut.
Yeah, it says debut.
I came from St. Ray's. I live down the street. I grew up on myself. And my parents said I looked for good education, so they always made sure that me and my sister did. So I went to community prep. It's like a private middle school. And I went to St. Ray's for high school. And then, yeah, it's transferred here, so I have one sister. I play basketball. I'm interested in graphic design and fashion. I have my own clothing line. It's called GTAG. It's a 2-word acronym. This is the first film that I had. It's a 2-word acronym. It means work until dollars appear, then achieve greatness. So yeah, that's basically it.
So you're at St. Ray's, now you're at Matt.
Yeah. That's all I did.
Anything to share about that transition? Why? No? Yes?
I think it's sort of better because at St. Ray's, I was learning a lot, but not stuff I needed. Like, I wasn't helping really.
So what sort of stuff are you looking to learn?
Just basically about what I'm here for right now, business, and how to just take my career to the next level. At St. Ray's, it was just like, it's a Catholic school, so I'm not religious, but you learn a lot about God and everything, and I feel like that would help me.
I got one question for you. I mean, so it's your first week of Met here. What do you not like or just don't really agree with that Met? And you know, there's usually a lot of things that most people say, what do you like about the Met? What's something that you feel like,
Honestly, I don't really know. I just don't like being in one class all day. That's a lot. I'm used to like going to different class every period.
running through the whole, like, kind of?
I used to be just like that too, so it'd be, for me, sometimes like when I'm sitting in the classroom, I'd be like, I gotta do the comedy, because I'm just like, that was more environment for me, because I don't know, it's just like, when I'm sitting in the room, it kind of feels like I'm back at home on a full classroom block, in a class for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. I gotta go to the comedy, I gotta mingle.
Going into it, and everybody like, hey, you should do that.
Yeah, so you're talking about advisory, right? Like sitting there, yeah, absolutely, no. I can see how that can get old, right? You're probably gonna go out internships, like do stuff, right? Yeah, sitting in that one room would not be fun for me.
You think you're a better basketball player than Gabriel?
I don't know. See, I used to take basketball very seriously. Most of the people know me, like, from playing basketball, and I just stopped. I got injured a lot. I broke my knee, my elbow, my finger, my toe, a lot of things like that.
Did you get hurt playing, did you get hurt more than other people?
I got hurt like every season. I never had like a summer where I wasn't hurt.
Why? Why do you think you got hurt more than other people?
I don't know.
You think you're more breakable, or you think there's something else going on?
I really don't know.
Do you hustle harder than other people? Do you dive for more balls? Do you jump for?
I used to, but I don't do that anymore.
Did you learn?
I don't want to get hurt, so that's why I don't really take basketball that serious anymore. So.
Yeah, I remember Baby when I was playing rec league, we were playing softball. I didn't know he was that young, but when you just said he's 15, I was like, oh, yeah. So I remember that. He's not easy point guard with the ball, AFP. You know what I mean?
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mary.
Also, for you, I go to ASP20. I had a little vending opportunity over there for Keegan. You know Keegan? Yeah, he was in the room over there.
Yep.
We got to sell shirts and stuff at a little gathering they had, festival. You basically get to keep your own profits. I think it would be good too with your drawings and stuff. Some guy named Nick, he basically helps out with the graphic design and all that.
Yeah, I would say you got to be a member at AS220 to use their equipment on like the side, but there's AS220 youth program too, right? So there's you got to be a member, as in you got to be part of it, but it doesn't cost anything, as I understand it. Yeah, so there's that as well. All right, my people, thank you for a good first class. Thanks for staying late. We'll try to get you out of here on time, but we got to make sure everybody has a chance to speak.
Nice stories, thank you.